So I grew up in a block-like structure, a cube of some sort, extending from side to side. I used to sleep with the TV on in the background, and to my parents' gentle murmur. My granddad had once sketched a dome-like structure for the house. And I grew up imagining how would it be if I lived in the structure what my granddad had once envisioned. When I turned 17, I went to Hyderabad to pursue an undergrad in design. In the first year, as a part of a photography module, I took Charminar as a subject. These are some of the pictures I took early in the morning as the sun beams on the Charminar. As the town was waking up, this was standing still in all its glory. The light and the shadow penetrating through the window, dancing on the murals, illuminating the silent corners of the monument. I had spent the whole day sitting inside the minar, noticing each and every motif. I was captivated by the echoes of its beauty. As the sun dawned upon the minar, it just looked majestic. With the namaz on in the background, I wondered what were the artisans listening to when they were building this up. Were they listening to the birds chirping and the breeze whistling? I knew I had to explore more. I went to London soon after my undergrad to pursue a degree in master's. This is the picture on the top left, a view from my library, where I used to spend most of my time. A vast skyline often used to make a discourse between time and space from within the silence of the library, as if it's reflecting my own mood. Just like this picture. This is the view from my room on the 11th floor. I was luckily next to the Emirates Stadium. For me, this looked like a ship sailing amongst the cloud, or had just landed still right outside my window. On the way to Scotland, the travel junkie in me took me to Scotland, I took this picture from a moving train. There was silence penetrated inside the train, and this suddenly broke the silence in my mind, because I could only imagine how magnificent it would have been if I was a bit closer to these gigantic towers puffing out heaps of air. The massive cloud of smoke out of these towers had its own depth and texture. And then I reached Scotland, the majestic Scotland, echoing the life of before and now, and all those who've gone below. The Holyrood Abbey, made of tears of sweat. For me, these were not just the landscapes, but they were a glorified dreamscapes. But you must be thinking, why am I showing you all these pictures? What significance it holds if I didn't share it with my experience? You must be saying that everyone takes a picture of Taj Mahal when in Agra or of a skyline in New York. So what is so great about these pictures? But what if I said that these pictures could create a sound of its own, could tell you a story by themselves, a story manifested by the work of art with some human intervention? What if I said that these landscapes could be turned into a living soundscape? An orchestra of stories, felt and untold. Here's a sneak peek of what I'm talking about. Fast pace of New York City, as it's clearly shown here. But what if we take a more geometric, a more symmetric structure? What if we just zoom in into the landscape and pick a structure, pick a monument? This is the picture that I clicked 2 years back when I was visiting a botanical garden. This stood silent for me and resonated the bells sound as I came closer. I wonder what the sound would come out from these contours of this structure. Let's have a look. Realize the symmetry in the sound, the harmonics it makes. But let's take something modern, which is more geometric, which has cutting lines and acute angles. Let's see how the sound would travel through them. Just like this, it's a World Trade Center in Bahrain. I haven't visited that place, but I would love to. This is the tallest building and has wind turbines for the first time in a structure. Let's see how would that sound like. The layers of sound slowly progressing up. Realize the symphonies, the rhythms, the sonic ambience that these structures make. Every structure has its own unique sound. It's like giving architecture to the sound. Last but not the least, this is something which is very dear to my heart, as it's close to my birthplace, Istanbul, for you guys. Notice the earthy sound that comes out of the dome structure of Istanbul. Like there is some mystery behind the ancient structure, hitting the nodes and antinodes and creating a resonating sound. There's the sound traveling up the contours of the pillar. At every corner, it has its own behavior, as if it's an orchestra of some sort. And as the train arrives into the city, cutting the air with its engine sound, so this is not the kind of sound that you would be hearing on the radio or you would dance to. This is a sound which is created with machines, with code. We use algorithms to create sound which is expressive, and there is a similarity between monuments and music, which is structure. For us, this is called generative music. As I said, it's an algorithmic way of producing expressions in sound, where the lines and the curves of the monument give architecture to the sound. That's the beauty of creative coding. Which brings me to introduce you to my colleague, Mike, aka Malika Arjun, who's an amazing programmer and a partner in crime. We bring this scope to India, to the heritage of India, and marry it with the power of technology. The scope is limitless. We lay this out to the world, to you guys. You could make your own sound. You could pick your own favorite monument and have a unique monumental orchestra. Last but not the least, I would like to say technology is not only used to make fancy products, but as a creative tool to express art, to augment human experience, and to amplify the connection. Thank you.